Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with a match preview for the FA Cup third round, Aston Villa against West Ham. Joining me is George, and talking just before we came on the show, mate. What might have been I guess, standard sort of FA Cup third round tie. You know, the reputation of the FA Cup kind of, dwindling, shall we say. Even with that in the background, this game now, with the 150th anniversary and a potential new manager bounce with Graham Potter coming in at West Ham, maybe just elevates the importance of it a little bit.
Hi, Rich. Yeah, hi, everyone. Yeah. What can you say, mate? Third round of the FA Cup. Traditionally, great day for us growing up, mate. I remember sitting there as like an 8 to 10-year-old, with 5 Live on, writing all the games out, mate. Fucking all day on a Saturday. It was brilliant, wasn't it? But in recent years, that seems to have lost its sparkle a little bit.
Yeah.
You're looking for something like this tonight. As you say, with the anniversary, to hopefully sort of make the game a bit more of a spectacle. I mean, Villa normally do these things pretty well, don't they? So let's hope tonight. The tickets are cheaper, aren't they? And as you say now, West Ham just sacked the manager. It might be a bit more. It might be a bit more. It's more on it for them, I'd say. Big away following tonight. All them players have got to try and impress now. It's a new start for them. So yeah, maybe this could be decent, but who knows? You don't really know until the game starts.
Exactly. And we'll maybe speculate on what the teams might be, or the Villa team anyway might be. But in terms of the reputation for the competition, I've just thought about this while you were talking. Do you think it might be to have something to do with the fact that Aston Villa have done absolutely terribly in the third round of this competition for the last sort of 10 to 15 years? I know we've got to the final in 2015, was it?
15,
but
yeah.
apart from that, we've been pretty pitiful, haven't we?
It's been dross, unfortunately, yeah. And I don't know, it just always seems that there's something more important, doesn't there, every year? Whether it's trying to not go down to the Championship, trying to get up from the Championship, trying to stay in the Premier League, trying to go for Europe, then trying to go for Champions League. It's like this, the FA Cup's always secondary, or even under secondary, in my opinion. Since Unai's come in, nothing's really changed on that front either. So I think with the fans, there's only so many times you can have like the wool pulled over your eyes and the sort of the piss taken out of you. We've come on here year after year, excited about a third round. Let's go for it this year. We're going to go for it. Everyone wants to win a trophy, but in reality, I don't think for the club it's ever really been on their radar, has it? So really, I think we've done our bit as far as the cup goes. I think it's down to the club now, the players and the manager. If they want to take it seriously, we're here for it. But if they don't, then I'm not going to keep getting the ump and losing sleep over it, because we've seen some shite, haven't we? Excuse my French. When we look at knocked out Peterborough, Sheffield United, Stevenage. Jesus, that was the worst one. We've just shown. I mean, even when we've picked a reasonably good team, it just seems that the players can feel the vibe as well, and they can't be asked. Even if we pick a good team, they can't be asked, and we still lose. So I don't know where we stand, mate. To be fair.
Yeah, it does seem to be, and we'll get on to West Ham, get onto the team in a second, but it seems to be like, Villa have been in this kind of catch-22 situation where, like you said, you summed it up perfectly. We've always had something else on the agenda. And then our squad has, even though we feel like we've got a strong squad, that squad hasn't necessarily been strong enough to get through the first 2 or 3 rounds. When you do get to the 5th round quarterfinal, and then you can start to take it serious, because you think, well, we've got a good chance of winning this. Like the Arsenal. Yeah, it's like the Arsenal and Liverpool and what have you. They'll play, the fringe players. But those fringe players, I mean, maybe not Arsenal so much at the minute, but you get my point. The fringe players will be good enough to get them through to like the third, fourth, fifth, even the quarterfinals. Whereas Villa, we're in that catch-22 situation where it's like, do you stick or twist? Do you like actually go for this competition, but potentially suffer in the league or suffer in whatever other European competition you're in, or do you not go for it and then lose any sort of potential opportunity of a trophy? And that's kind of where we've been.
Exactly, and it's not as if I'm not overly angry about it these days. I understand we're a club now trying to close the gap between us and the giants, and unfortunately, it's all about money, isn't it?
Yeah.
And more these days, the fans are sort of having to accept we're involved in the business side now, even though we're not working there. Our thought processes now have to be driven by the finances because that's just the reality of the game. I bore you lots of tears talking about wages and transfers and PSR, but unfortunately, that's the reality of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
We used to have fantasy football manager heads. Oh, let's get him, but it can't happen. Everything is like all about money these days, and unfortunately, I don't think the FA Cup is it's not a priority for clubs because it doesn't pay, does it?
No.
The big teams will eventually win the cups because they've got the big squads, they've got the best players, and they've got the tradition in the cups. And they, as you say, I think their winning mentality gets them through these tough third, fourth, fifth round games. Unless they play each other, and then of course one of them has to get knocked out. But
Yeah.
clubs like ours, we've had players on the cusp trying to get in the team, but when they've come in, whether it's the fact that they just can't get into the rhythm or they haven't got the relationship with the players around them, there's never been enough, has there, to seem to get ourselves through.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, talking about the team, segueing nicely, obviously there's an element of changes to be made, fringe players to maybe play. What do you see Unai doing with the team? Because we've got Everton coming up on Wednesday, but it's not as if it's like 2 days after or anything like that. And it's not as if we've played, incredibly recently. Obviously, we played Leicester on Saturday. So the players would have had enough rest, and then we'll have enough rest between Wednesday. So what do you see him doing ahead of this game?
Do you know what, Rich? I'm not sure because as going back to the anniversary, it's sort of being billed as a big night, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you can't have all of that and then Unai stick a reserve team out. So I think it's probably going to be what we tried against Palace, a mismatch of both. I mean, it has to be Watkins up front, doesn't it? I mean, Duran's
Yeah.
suspended. There's no other striker really, on the bench pushing hard as far as I'm aware.
No.
So I expect him to play. I mean, are we going into lineups now, or just want a few ideas, or?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't particularly got like there's no predicted lineup. It was just more kind of your thought process like going into it. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, you're right in Watkins playing. I mean,
Yeah, I'm looking at
does
like a
Martinez keep his spot, or does he play an Olsen or a Joe Gauchi? Obviously, both of them looking to go out on loan somewhere, or even a transfer. You imagine Onana coming in, you imagine Buendia coming in,
100%. Yeah,
but
Nedeljkovic.
yeah, potentially Nedeljkovic, unless there's a loan move there. So do you jeopardize that? Obviously you want him. He wants game time, but then he could get injured. I don't know if that jeopardizes a loan move elsewhere. So there's a few things that he's got to balance up as well.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I imagine this is going for Jacob Ramsey. He's just come off an injury, hasn't he? And it's sort of questions now whether he's going to be a starter for me now. The way our midfield is, so I'd say he's a shoe in to play if he's fit. The defense is interesting, isn't it? Because we're down to Mings and Konza now. So I'd
Yeah,
imagine if there's going to be youth players playing, I mean, you called this the other day, didn't you, about Bogard and Swinkles, wasn't it? I
yeah,
could imagine at least one of them two is going to be playing because we can't afford to lose another senior centre back now. Otherwise, we're in real trouble, aren't we? So I
yeah,
could see, yeah, if we're going to use a bit of an experience, it will be at centre back, I would say.
yeah, yeah. And like the right side, Leon. There isn't if Philogene going out to Ipswich, as we think that'll be announced pretty soon, then Leon Bailey's pretty much got to play, unless that is a position that he tries one of the young lads out, in terms of a Caden Young or a Ben Broggio or something like that. I think Matson will probably come in at left back. So,
Yeah, no,
I mean, the names we've mentioned there, Watkins, Buendia, Ramsey, Anana, probably Barkley, Ian Matson. it's still a pretty decent, core of a side, to be honest. And I'd really, the jury's so much out on Emi Buendia for me. Like, yes, he hasn't had a great deal of minutes, but every time he's come on, he just hasn't looked like he's been anywhere near the pace of the game. So I'll be certainly looking at him and probably Jacob Ramsey, like you said, to see, what have they got? What have they got to kind of really, really push Unai Emery to consider them for a start?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, say two shoe-ins for me today. And I mean, if I was them, I'd be thinking to myself, right, if I don't turn up tonight and we go out again, that's what am I doing here? I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
Buendia's sort of quite down the pecking order now. Had a very, very bad injury, and we're all very, very sad for him and that. But he's, as you say, the opportunities he's had since, they've been few and far between. 10 minutes, 15 minutes here, but he let himself down against Palace in the cup, didn't he?
He
Even
did.
I think he in the early round when we was at Wickham, he scored a goal and did okay.
Yeah.
But it's tough for him. Yeah, he's just going to have to try and take his chance. Otherwise, I can see that sort of kind of being the beginning of the end for Buendia, either January or most certainly in the summer.
Yeah, yeah. And on to West Ham, our opponents. Bit of a tumultuous last few weeks, to be honest. It seemed like Lopetegui was going about a month or so ago. Then he picked up a couple of decent results, and it looked like he was staying. Then they kind of got really badly beaten, and it looked like he was just hanging around. Now, I imagine that was to do with legal stuff. How much they were going to pay him in terms of compensation, what they were going to pay Graham Potter and all that. But it was a bit of a mess. But I guess they've sorted that out now, and Graham Potter now in at the helm and in his first game. It's a big one for him.
Yeah, most certainly, mate. Yeah, West Ham. I was sort of saying about Villa doing things with class. West Ham kind of they don't do these things very well. I find they always seem to make a mess of sack-ins and appointments. It's always a big circus, And yeah, I don't think this has gone down very well, really, like to the wider audience, isn't it? The whole country knows Lopetegui's going, apart from Lopetegui, who probably does know but hasn't had the official word. I was watching Sky Sports yesterday or the day before, and they're already saying, "Oh, Potter's been like, he's arguing about how long his contract is going to be. Is it going to be to the end of the season, or is it going to be a long-term deal?" And the fella's still sat there in a job. He must be
Yeah,
watching TV, thinking, what is going on here? So I think the communication at West Ham could be a lot better, but that's their problem. But on to Potter himself, I actually think it's a decent appointment for West Ham, and I can see why he took the job, because it's the sort of club that they like a certain brand of football, don't they? And they've been starved of it the last couple of managers. I could have told West Ham when Moyes went that Lopetegui was a Spanish Moyes, but they didn't want to hear that at the time, and it was no shock to me that didn't work out. But we've seen Potter's work at Brighton, done a great job. It takes a bit of time, and he plays a nice style of football, doesn't he? And I think he's done a great job at Brighton, and it's just a shame he got his big opportunity at Chelsea, and it come at a time where it was just change, and for whatever reason, the players didn't take to him, or the job was too big for him, and he was out on his ear after. God, it weren't long, was it? Was it 6 months at top? I don't think
yeah,
it was that long, was it? So he's got a
yeah. It
great
was
chance to repair things now.
exactly, and I guess he'll want to put out a pretty strong side tonight. And again, I mean, a pretty strong side. But even if he does put out some fringe players, they're going to want to really show that to impress the manager to get themselves into the frame for the actual first team as well.
Exactly. It's not ideal for Villa. I know that. It's for me. It feels set up for us to have another crappy third round exit at home. As I said, with 8,000 West Ham fans coming down, new manager. That I know they're not having a very good season, but they're not going to go down. They're not going to trouble the European spots this year. So they are a team that can go for this FA Cup, because they're going to finish 10th to 15th or something this season. I think that's absolutely set in stone. So why not West Ham go for this cup? There's bigger fish for us to fry, but I'm not sure there is for West Ham this time round. So I could see this being like the Palace game, because they were in the same position then. Not so much pressure on them, where all the pressure is going to be on us. And I can see this going wrong tonight, but I do hope I'm wrong, mate.
Yeah, I'm just looking. It looks in terms of their injuries, Emerson is out for them. Jared Bowen is out for them. Fabianski's out for them, and obviously Mikel Antonio's out for them. But they've still got some good players in terms of Kudus and Paqueta, who hasn't been great this season, but
He
still a
wants away,
very,
Rich,
very
doesn't
good
he,
player.
Paqueta?
Sorry?
I think Paqueta's trying to get away, isn't he?
Yeah. But again, this kind of situation now with a fresh start, fresh manager, I don't know how well, reading some of the sort of accounts from journalists, how well the players even reacted to Lopetegui. I don't think they were that enamored with the training sessions, with the messaging, with the team talk. So I think again, this is like a new fresh start for a lot of players. But yeah, they've still got good players, but we've got good players as well, and we've just talked about numerous players who need to grab that opportunity, and with an atmosphere, slightly different atmosphere, not necessarily kind of the Carabao Cup atmosphere that we had at Crystal Palace. Although the fans really want to win a trophy, but there is a little bit extra spice on this game, so you just hope that translates to the players, George.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just. It's felt a lot of the time. It feels like teams are actively trying to lose, aren't they, and get knocked out of the cup, which is it's disgraceful, really. But that's just been the reality of things, especially Villa in cup competitions the last few years. So yeah, you just want to see a decent effort, don't you? I mean, we knew, didn't we, within what was it, the Palace game? Or it might have been the Everton game last season. You could just see the application wasn't right from minute one.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you think they don't want to win this. So what are we even bothering watching for?
yeah.
So you don't want to see that tonight. You want to see like a team that's at it and they're actively trying to win the game. If we
Yeah.
don't, we don't. But at least just look like you fancy it.
Yeah, and winning's a habit, right? And we've got a good home record at the minute. We've only lost this season, I believe, to Arsenal and that Crystal Palace game. So you
Yeah,
want to keep that going. You want to keep that sort of fortress going. And we've got big games coming up. Everton next week away from home, Arsenal away from home. So you want to keep that feeling going. We've just won our last game. We've got back onto the right track after the sort of Newcastle game. So you want to keep that going. And obviously, whatever competition it's in, winning is important.
of course, mate. Yeah, everything you say is right. The game's about winning, right? We want to win the games. So just try and get a bit of positive momentum and keep going, because we're going to run into Everton next week. They've just now sacked Sean Dyche, so we're going to be going straight into another new manager bounce next week. And you're thinking, Jesus, why us? Everton's been a tough place to go to, even though they've not done very well. They've done pretty well at home, haven't they? And
Yeah,
they're very hard to score against. So you're going to have another tough game there. Word is that David Moyes is going to be going back to Everton.
yeah,
So that obviously went very well for them back in the day when they were fighting for Villa for European honours. But they say never go back, don't they? So I don't know what can happen there, but it'd be a very interesting one. But yeah, winning breeds confidence. So yeah, hopefully we can get through, mate.
yeah, definitely, mate. So just finishing up, I don't know how positive you are going into this game. Guys in the chat, please do get your predictions in as well for your scores in the comments. Hit the like button as well. Please hit the subscribe button. We've just passed 5,000 subscribers. We've actually well on the way to 5,100 already, which is just mad. The support we've had over the last few days, last couple of weeks has just been crazy. So keep that going. Want to keep that momentum up. So like, subscribe, and get your comments in, your thoughts on tonight's game, predictions, etc., etc. So George, what are your thoughts for tonight? Are we going to score? And who is going to score? And what is the score going to be?
So I'm right in saying there's no replays, right? If this finishes a draw, this just goes to.
I don't know. I think there could well be
I
replays.
think they scrapped them, Rich, didn't they? We should have talked about this before.
We should have done. I'm pretty sure there are still replays. I'm pretty sure there are.
Okay.
Uh,
I need to think of a prediction here. Do you know
oh
what?
no, they have been. They have been scrapped. They have been scrapped.
They've gone to what? It goes straight to
I
pens.
believe so. Yeah.
I want to predict a Villa win here. I just don't want to be. When you're thinking, I don't want to be fooled again, like all the other years when you sit it, go, oh yeah, all positive, we're going to win, and then they don't want to win. I tell you what,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and go positive and trust it tonight. I'm gonna go for a narrow Villa 2-1 win, bit of late drama, maybe a late winner for us. So the goals, I'm gonna go for Buendia getting a start. If he plays like he needs to play, then I hope he can get a goal for us. So I'm going to go Buendia and Jacob Ramsey, two hungry players that need a performance. And I think,
Nice.
there'll be a late winner there.
I've just confirmed there. It is extra time and penalties on the night, so no replays. Yeah. So I'm gonna say I think it'll be done in 90 minutes. And I'm going to agree with you. I think it's going to be 2-1 Villa. We're not going to keep clean sheet because we don't. But I think Watkins will score. And I think Buendia will score. No, actually not Buendia. I think Ramsey will score. Yeah, Watkins and Ramsey, let's say.
But 8 o'clock the game.
8 p.m. kickoff, yeah, live on ITV. So on terrestrial TV for everyone. Everyone to see Aston Villa. I'm not going to say mess it up because I'm pretty confident. But it'd be great to see us. I just like being in the hat. I just like being in the hat for the next round. I like to have an investment in the competition further on because, we're playing on Friday night, and to then have no kind of interest in the competition after tonight will just be horrible for me because then you're just watching games or you're just seeing results come through for absolutely no reason. Whereas at least if we do win, we've got some form of investment in the competition further on down the line.
100%, mate. That's the fans coming back out in us again, isn't it?
You
want to be in it. You want a ticket in the raffle, didn't you, mate?
Exactly. So hopefully, guys, we can get that result. Like I said, get your thoughts in the comments as well. Let us know your score predictions and who you're expecting to see big performances from. We'll be back, obviously, with a with a match reaction from myself. Obviously, match preview for Everton, Fans Forum, and please do check out the Fans Forum with Jacob Tanswell from The Athletic from the other night. That was an excellent show and some interesting information on transfers as well. So make sure you check out that. Stay tuned for the channel. Hopefully we get into the hat for the 4th round. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.